Hello, and welcome to the Recovering Perfectionist Mama podcast, Grace in Progress. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I am Buffy. I'm a women's lifestyle creator on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, covering topics ranging from parenting and children to marriage, to mental health, to health and fitness, to leveling up, to mindset shifts, to journaling, to self-empowerment and self-improvement, cycle syncing, the gut biome, functional fitness, strength training for women, all sorts of things, right? To help you level up and live your best life. So my goal, and I really like to learn information and new information and such to help me live a better life. And so my podcast is all about sharing that with you all. And so my goal is to arm you with information that you can use and that is of interest to you, being a woman and all, and that you can use that information to level up and show your children that living the life you want to live is possible and easily accessible, and that be the legacy of you and potentially be the legacy of me as well, I hope. So today we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is social media. And the impact that social media has on motherhood. I know a lot of women have taken breaks from social media because they feel that it is extremely, causes a lot of pressure, internal pressure, whether people intend to cause pressure to others or all of that. There's a lot of kind of whitewashing, glamorization of certain things. And so a lot of people feel the need to essentially try to emulate what they see on social media. And ultimately, social media is just a highlight reel. You know, it's not every day in the trenches. People do not always show the negative sides of themselves on social media. And I think that's just a human condition, something that people do often. And the other thing, I think in some ways there are certain people who are very sensitive to other people sharing happy things. You know, for instance, if you've suffered a loss of a baby, it would be difficult to follow someone who has the life that you want to have, right? Or someone who you feel like isn't struggling and you're struggling in whatever area of your life. You know, maybe you just got a divorce and you're watching this happy family and you're wondering why that family isn't you, right? So ultimately, and I've said this before and I'll continue to say this because I truly believe it, comparison is the thief of joy. We need to be happy for our circumstances, where we are and where we're at, right? We all have some great things, and that's where the practice of gratitude comes in. That's where loving ourselves and being proud of who we are as a person comes into play, because we're not going to be like everybody else, and there's going to be no one like us either, and that's okay. We don't have to compete with anybody. We can stay in our own lane. We can be who we want to be. We can have our own goals, even though they may seem silly to other people. That's fine. But ultimately, we are our own person. And unless we know that person on social media, their opinion of us probably doesn't matter. Just like our opinion of them probably doesn't matter to them because they might not know us. And that's okay, right? Everyone is able to make a decision about who they want to be, what they're going after. And that's 100% okay. Excuse me. So motherhood has always been hard. I feel like there is a massive bar for what makes a good mother and what doesn't make a good mother. But here's the thing. Most of the mothers out there are harder on themselves than anyone else could ever be. Because there's this unspoken rule that being a mother is a sacred thing and that it is a very important job, and it is. But it also comes with mom guilt. Already once you the first instant you hold your baby, you're like, oh gosh, I feel guilty. Why did I do XYZ? There's always the conversation, breastfeeding bottle feeding. Oh my gosh, what choice do I make? What choice do I make? Right? Cloth diapers or Huggies or Pampers, right? Oh no, what do I do? There's all those things that we put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect. And our children don't need us to be perfect. They just need us to be present. They need us to be loving. They need us to be encouraging. And that's not to say we're always going to have those days. Some days we're just going to be exhausted, right? Because there's so many things on our plate. But now you're going to throw in social media, right? Social media where we can learn new things and try to pick up more habits and see everyone with like the crystal clean Pinterest perfect house, and right. And suddenly we're not just raising kids, we're battling comparison, perfection pressure, and highlight reels that never tell the full story. Today we're going to break down how social media is shaping motherhood, the good, the bad, and how to take your power back. Let's talk about how moms used to compare themselves to neighbors, because that was the precursor to social media. Next door neighbor, oh, well, Susie just got a new car, and Susie's house is always clean, and Susie's a really good cook, and Susie always dresses to the nines, and here I am in my sweatpants and tank top, and Susie's literally like got a full face of makeup on, right? So that was the precursor to that. And I could see that being a lot more intimidating because you actually know that person. And you're wondering, are they telling everyone that I look like a drowned rat like every day of the week? That I come out in like strange things sometimes? Thank goodness my neighbors are not like that. I'm so happy with that. They're not like that. Also, or you're going to compare yourself to your friends or your family, your sister, how was your mother? Was your mother a better mother than you were? And, just go into all this compare, which is why comparison is the thief of joy. Also, this whole thing, it's like comparison now is 24/7, and that is a double-edged sword. It gives you the ability to connect with your friends and with your family and the people that you look up to. But then it also can sometimes cause you to feel inadequate. Like if they're killing life and you're feeling like you're being dragged under the bus on a daily basis, it's going to make you feel convicted. It's going to make you feel like you're less than. But ultimately, what you're hearing up here is not always the truth. And we know that. We know that we have an inner critic. We know that this inner critic is just being nasty to us and that we can avoid it. But for some reason, the brain tends to go towards negative. So it's like, well, of course they're telling you the truth. I mean, you are kind of a train wreck. It's like, thank you for the confidence there, huh? But also the guilt that never seems to go away. If you can relate to that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The guilt. I mean, you could feel like you've done everything good, and then all of a sudden you're asleep. You're getting ready to try to fall asleep at night, and you're sitting in bed, and you're like, oh my gosh, I did this, I did this, I did this, I should have done this, but I did. Every single thing comes up and rehash over and over and over until you finally get lucky enough to fall asleep, right? But now comparison is 24/7. Before, you could say, hey neighbor, hope you're having a great day, and walk back in your house. They're not going to chase you into your house. That comparison's done for the moment, right? But now, endless scrolling, you can see all the new makeup trends, you can see all the new clothing trends, you can all see all the new reels and all the cute reels people are doing. So a mom at 2 a.m. scrolling is probably not able to sleep. So she's kind of in like an already compromised state because she's wanting to get some rest. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. She's been probably busy from beginning of the day to now it's 2 a.m. Her mind's racing, like everyone's mind races at 2 a.m. And she's sitting there and she's seeing these picture perfect people. She looks like a model. Why do I look like a drowned rat today? I don't know. Man, like, Lordy, I got to get my hair done. I got to get this. I got to get my nails done. I got endless to-do list that never ends, right? So if you can relate to that, I know a lot of people can, just because they feel like there's some sort of competition. But here's the thing, you didn't enter a competition. You don't have to be in a competition. You can be in a competition with yourself to make yourself better. If there's certain things that you want to work on them. That's great. That's fantastic, right? You don't need to compete against social influencers who you'll probably never meet. So the downsides of social media for mothers. We talked about comparison trap. So perfectly curated feeds, right? Everyone's like, oh, I'm sorry. I know a little something about perfectionism, and I know that I'll never be there. I know that there are certain things that other people can do fantastically that I cannot. And I acknowledge that, right? I have very little spatial intelligence. I'll be 100% honest about that. But if you want me to, I don't know, write something for you or do something like that, I can do that. If you want me to prepare a presentation for you and talk for you, I can do that. But don't ask me to play Tetris and don't ask me to build Legos, because it's not going to happen. Sorry, those are my limitations. So these feeds, again, are once again trying to push us towards perfection. Curated feeds lead to unrealistic expectations. And mom guilt can often result when you feel like your life feels different. Maybe you've had a breakup of a relationship. Maybe you've had some sort of health condition that not everyone knows about and that not everyone has. That can then cause you to have guilt because you feel like you're not being the mother that you need to be. And that's not fair to you, because if you're doing the best you can, that's great. That's all that's asked for, right? And then you show up and you be present, and I'm sure you are, especially if you're watching a podcast on motherhood. Mental health struggles, anxiety, depression, and overwhelm caused by constant exposure. As well as research has shown social media use linked to increased stress in mothers. I'd be interested to see the study on the effect on men, but I don't know if they'll ever do that or not. As well, it can be a productivity drain. You can lose hours to scrolling instead of rest or self-care, and both are necessary. Impact on energy and presence with kids. That also happens. Parenting by algorithm. Overload of a conflicting advice. You should be an authoritarian parent. No, you should be a gentle parent. No, you should be a lighthouse parent. New concept. I actually did a podcast on that as well. So there's all these things swirling around. It's like you're kind of in a tornado, so to speak. And also paralysis, not knowing who to trust, because you don't actually know these people. These people are not sharing their credentials with you. They're giving you advice and you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, they both sound good, but they both sound bad at the same time. Like, which do I choose? Which do I choose? Let's talk about the benefits. You can join online mom groups that are supportive. Let's say you cloth diaper. There's probably a cloth diapering mom group. Let's say you homeschool. I know there are tons of homeschooling mom groups because I've been part of several of them, both in person and then online. And so an online mom group can offer real community and validation. And then you can share resources, recipes, hacks, educational tips. You can also break the isolation that you feel, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom where you're with the kids a lot. I love being with my kids. I'm not going to say that I don't. I love homeschooling my kids. But there's times where it's tiring and you're just overwhelmed and tired and exhausted. And breaking isolation is especially important for new moms who've just had children. And so they're in the postpartum period and there's not a lot they can do. As well, they have those hormones going up and down, fluctuations, and potential postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. So they need to be able to get out and socialize without having to get out and socialize, so to speak. As well as advocacy and awareness. Motherhood topics that were once taboo are now mainstream. For instance, the M word that you all know, menopause, has always been a hushed whisper, or the change. So let's talk about actionable tips and strategies. You need to curate your own feed. If someone is making you feel less than, and I'm not saying that it's that person's fault, I'm saying if that person, watching that person makes you doubt yourself, makes you criticize yourself, makes you feel like you're not good enough, then that's probably not the person that you need to be following. Even if you like them, even if they have great tips, you need to take care of your self right now and what works for you and things that are going to actually help you and move you forward, not make you sad and frustrated and upset with yourself. Unfollow accounts that trigger guilt or comparison. Follow real, relatable voices. And I try to, I'm not competing with anyone, but I try to be a person who is compassionate and understanding and real, because I think that's what people want. People don't want a show. They don't want a facade. They want what someone is actually like. Set time boundaries. No scroll zones, mornings, meals, and before bed. Use app timers or digital well-being tools. Use social media intentionally. Decide your purpose: connection, information, or entertainment. Avoid aimless scrolling. Also practice digital self-awareness. Notice your mood after scrolling. Journal. Do I feel better or worse? Model healthy use for your kids. I did a podcast previously on screen time for kids if you're interested in that. Our relationship with screens sets the tone. Tech-free rituals include meals, family nights, and weekends. Prioritize real-life connections because those are really what matter, especially within the family. Coffee with a friend is more important than 30 minutes of scrolling. Invest in offline relationships. So, social media, as we know, is a tool. The key is who's in control, you or the algorithm. Your worth as a mother is not measured by likes, follows, or curated squares. It's measured in the love and presence you give your children. If this episode resonated, share it with another mom who might need the reminder that she's enough, just as she is. And don't forget to subscribe and review if you like. It helps us reach more moms with this message. And if you have any ideas for potential podcast topics that you're interested in, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok at recovering_perfectionist_mama, and I will keep that in mind. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.